Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today we are reviewing the new Buffbunny Deadlift Collection. This is launching on Saturday, October 12th at 1 p.m. Central Time, and you can always use code Catherine for 10% off. This is our spooky launch of the year, like little spooky fall vibes, but more than just neutrals. This launch is also a collab with Mikey, aka Glam and Gore. So we definitely see some elements inspired by her in this launch. And I feel like whenever we have like an athlete collab, there's just always some really fun, good pieces. And while a lot of the launches this year, I feel like I've had to really pick and choose what I can actually wear, this launch, I feel like almost all of the pieces actually work for me, so I am very excited to share them. And even though this is definitely a more like muted colors, fall tones launch, I like color of anything. I love a good bright color, but we definitely have some deeper like berry tones, jewel tones in this launch. It's not just all brown, black, beige like the Grounds collection. There's also a new fabric launching, which I'm very excited about. So first, let's introduce all of the colors of the launch. First up, we have Lipstick Red. And when the Juicy collection launched, it had Lipstick Red in it. This was a very quick seller, so if you want any Lipstick Red, it tends to go fast. But the name Lipstick Red didn't quite fit in with the Juicy collection names, so it makes so much sense that this was actually one of Mikey's colors because she's known for like a bright red lip, and this is like the perfect lipstick shade. We have a couple muted greens. We have Matcha Latte, and then we have Siren, so they're very close. Matcha Latte is just a little bit lighter. We also have some muted purples. We have Purple Shadow and then Hush Berry. Venom is back. It's this nice deep purpley berry color. This is in the Material Girl fabric. Then we also have returning colors Cold Brew and Black, both of which can be seen in the new print. This is the Estes print. This is based off the carpet in the Shining movie, which is in Estes, Colorado. Here's a close-up. From afar, you don't really notice very much other than it is a print, but I think it's a very wearable print, and I'm actually kind of into this one, and I'm very picky about prints. All right, next let's insert all of our squat tests. All of these colors are pretty dark, so you're honestly gonna be safe with all of them, but okay, let's move on to the individual pieces. We're going to start out with leggings. We have to start out with a new fabric. These are the Poshknit Scrunch leggings. So let's just take a minute to talk about the new Poshknit fabric. I feel like in the last launch or two, I've just been not really enthused about the butter fabric. I've had multiple butter pieces now pill in the wash, or just, you know, with like casual wear, and I haven't even worn my pieces that much. The butter fabric is just so thin that it just wants to get in all of your crevices. So I ended up just getting a more camel than I really could tolerate. And because it was so thin and weightless, it almost just didn't really hold onto the body well. So they had to like taper the waist or put in top bands, and I just wasn't a big fan of it. Unfortunately, I did have some butter pieces in my collection, but when we were sampling fabrics, butter was kind of new at that point, and all I really got to do was like try on a piece. So the longevity of the fabric just wasn't really for sure. So I'm happy to say that Buffbunny is doing a new fabric called the Poshknit, and this is what we've been waiting for. I love a soft brushed fabric, but I've always loved the Newbury fabric because it's nice and soft, dense, but also has some hold to it. Newbury has been a little bit thinner in the past couple launches, so the design team did say it should be back to the normal thickness like spring of next year, I believe. But in the meantime, if you are a Newbury lover, if you like a little bit of hold in your leggings, you're going to love the Poshknit. It's basically like the thickness of the old Newbury, maybe even like slightly thicker. It's definitely a more substantial fabric. So these leggings are not like a summer legging, which makes sense because it's fall now, but just so everyone knows, they're definitely a little bit dense. But the hand feel of them is almost like suede, and I feel like you can really see it on the dress that we're going to talk about. It just has a super fine brushed feel. It's brushed inside and out. When fabrics are brushed on the inside, that gives them a little more grip against your body. So if you loved the compression of Newbury but the soft feel of like the butter fabric, that's what the Poshknit is. And I also feel like the density of the fabric, first of all, it's going to be very squat proof, and second of all, that thickness, it just kind of like contours to your body, but also just kind of smooths things out. So it's just very flattering. I have worn both of my Poshknit bottoms to the gym and I haven't seen any damage to them so far. The only thing I will say, if you ever see what you think is like a little like dark streak or something on a legging, I have seen that in a couple of the Poshknit pieces. That's usually just from being in transit. So after you wash it one time, those little marks will go away. So don't panic. But yeah, so far I am loving the Poshknit, and I definitely am trying to be more critical of the fabrics, and now that we just like didn't really love butter. And so far I haven't seen any red flags with this one. So these are the Poshknit Scrunch leggings. I got a size small. They're obviously in the Poshknit fabric. They're a high-rise legging that'll hit about at your natural waist. For me, it just kind of covers the belly button. Double thickness waistband, no top band, no front seam, slightly extended gusset. I'll do a side-by-side of these versus the aggressive Scrunch, but they're honestly pretty different. I feel like the names make you think that you want to compare them, but they're actually not really that comparable. The aggressive Scrunch, they have a side seam, they have thinner seams. These have the thicker flat lock seams. And then the aggressive Scrunch also has quite a shortened back rise, but these are not as shortened. We have the contouring seams around the glutes, and the back rise is longer. And these do have an elastic up the back rise, similar to what the Dream Heather leggings and the Dream Heather flares have. But because it's not scrunched up like the aggressive Scrunch, these don't really go up the cheeks as much. So if you're not really into like a wedgie moment, these really aren't very wedgy. They just kind of give a little bit more of an idea of like one cheek, two cheek, but like nothing crazy. And because this fabric has so much more structure than the aggressive Scrunch, the little elastic in the back doesn't really cause any camel problems because the fabric just holds up a little bit better. These are a 26-inch inseam and definitely one of my top picks of the launch, just because I feel like this fabric is just something special and I'm excited about it. So let's try these on. All right, here are the Poshknit Scrunch leggings. They hit me right at the small of my waist, just right above the belly button. No top band, does dip down slightly in the front here, and no front seam, and that gusset is really not visible from the front. We have no side seams, so you get a very seamless appearance here. And then in the back, you get those seams that go perfectly just right above the glutes. And you see with that little hidden scrunch in the back, it's not going like straight up the cheeks like the aggressive Scrunch where you're really getting that wedgie. It's more just giving a tiny bit of definition between the cheeks. So if you're expecting this to really go all the way up your glutes and stay there, it's not going to do that. But I actually really like this. It's a nice like intermediate, you know, not enough to give me any camel toe, not enough to be like actually uncomfortable. Overall, this legging is about a medium compression. Again, like kind of similar to OG Newbury, maybe a little bit more. And the density and thickness is just going to be really friendly to cellulite and any skin texture as well. That's especially going to be true in prints. Overall sizing, I would say these are very true to size. If you're in between, I'd probably go with the size up just because it is a little bit more compressive. And the waist is just not as aggressively tapered as the aggressive Scrunch leggings, where I just feel like it wanted to cut into me, even though the fabric was not too compressive. Here's a full length view. These are 26-inch inseam. You might get a little less vertical stretch in these than you do with butter because they're a little bit more dense and compressive, but I still feel like this is an okay length for me. And yeah, overall, these are a top choice. In terms of new fabrics, this is definitely the best one I've seen from Buffbunny in a while. So excited to hear what you guys think when you get to try these. Next, we have the ribbed cross waist leggings. So these are going to be in that Material Girl fabric, except we have a cross waist. So if you like the Material Girl ribbed fabric, it's basically like a sleek ribbed fabric. Here's a close-up of that fabric. It's puffer friendly, has a little bit more compression as well. These have a soft V front. We do have a true cross waist where the fabric overlaps each other. No top bands, no front seams, slightly extended gusset, 26-inch inseam, and in the back the seams are slightly curved, and this one has an embroidered Buffbunny logo. Compared to just the regular Material Girl leggings, these are quite a bit lower of a rise. We will definitely see that. In the front, not only are they a little bit lower rise, but they also dip down, so I was just showing a little bit more torso than I wanted. And the back rise is also an inch shorter, so if you're expecting the Material Girl leggings just with a cross waist, just know that these are going to be about an inch shorter rise overall. Seams are also a little bit wider on this one compared to the Material Girl. All right, here are the leggings. I was nervous that this rise was going to cost me camel toe, but it just worked out in these, and I got zero tension in the crotch or anything, but I still do wish that these were just a little bit higher. It just feels like I like where this part of the waistband hits, but I would have liked this part of the waist to just be a little bit higher. If you do like a lower rise, I think you'd like these, but overall I'm gonna say these are like a mid to high rise. For me, after kind of like working out in them, they just felt like more of a mid-rise, but if you have a shorter torso, they could still reach more of a high rise. For me, clearly we are showing some belly button. Again, we have this crossover waist. The seams are a little bit different from the original Material Girl. We have the sleek ribbed fabric. Overall, these are true to size, but if you're in between, I definitely would size up. I think that they make the Material Girl run just like a little bit on the snug side, but personally I wouldn't size up or else they may slide down. No front seam. Overall, I'd say medium to medium high compression. These definitely give you a good amount of hold, and the fabric is very pet fur friendly as well. All the fur just kind of brushes right off. We do have a side seam, and then we have the seams that contour around the glutes. After looking at these, working out at the gym, I do feel like they're more of a medium on the booty scale. With a compressive legging, you're just like never really gonna get a lot of glute enhancement. And a medium on the booty scale isn't bad. It just means that it's not really enhancing or hurting. It's just kind of like neutral, like it is what it is, and I feel like that's what these are. We do have those seams, but with the compression and where these are hitting me, they're just hitting me a little bit lower than the normal Material Girl leggings, so I just think that these are more of a medium on the booty scale. You do get good cellulite coverage. That ribbing just really kind of hides any texture. Then we take a look at the full length view. These do hit just like a little bit shorter. They are still 26-inch inseam, but because they're a little bit more compressive, I mean, I probably could pull them down a little bit more here, but that's kind of where they were at after the gym for me. I feel like I was just playing with the waistband a little bit at the gym and just kind of wanted to sit more mid-rise on me, which just isn't something that I personally like. So for me, because of the rise for these, honestly, I'd rather just have the regular Material Girl leggings. I felt like those are just a little bit more flattering, but this fabric does perform well overall. Next up, we have the Moto pocket leggings. Buffbunny loves to do their holographic fabrics in their like spooky October launches, but this time we have a little bit of an update. They're listed as a 26-inch inseam. I measured 26.5, but like about the same. I got my normal size, and these are made of a recycled polyester spandex, and then they have all these tiny little dots that end up making them have this holographic iridescent color. This is the black cherry patent, but they also have like a bright red and just black. So the black will kind of give just like a faux leather look. Here is that fabric close up. You can kind of see all the little colors of light that it catches. I think these are really fun, but to be honest, I don't think I've ever worn a pair of my holographic leggings to the gym other than to like test them for a launch. Like I never actually reached for them. We have a double thickness waistband, and it does do a soft V in the front, no front seam, slightly extended gusset, and then we have the Moto details down the side. Years ago, I had a pair of leggings from Aloe Yoga that had this detail, but basically it's just like a little pin tucked detail, but they're also a functional pocket. And then you also have another section of those little pin tuck details down the side of the calf as well, but those are not a pocket. We do have the silicone Buffbunny logo. You have those nice contouring glute seams, kind of similar to the Rebel leggings. And this one does have a little top band just in the very back section of the waistband. It doesn't go on to the sides. It's just the very back. So I'm glad that it's not on the sides, because the sides usually where you get like that kind of cutting in, but we'll see if we get any issues in the back. So let's try these on. All right, here we have the Moto pocket leggings. Pleased to see that these are just like a perfect high rise. I love when leggings hit me right at the small of my waist. So nothing too crazy. Double thickness up here, no top bands, and no top band at the side either. We have no front seam, and the gusset is not sitting too far forward. It's barely visible. Overall, I would say these are true to size. This fabric tends to be a little bit compressive, more like medium to medium high compression. So if you're in between, I generally suggest choosing the size up, but otherwise normal Buffbunny size. Moto detailing, it's definitely more visible on the lighter colors. So on the red and on this black cherry, it's going to be more visible than just the black. And this whole area is a pocket. So it's fitting my full phone pretty securely. So I like that they made that a functional detail instead of just like the pin tuck. And we have that on both sides. And then in the back, we do have that little top band up there, but I don't really think it's causing any problems. Again, I don't really feel like these would slide down because they are on the more compressive side, but it's just something to note if that would bother you. Usually it only bothers me when it goes along the sides as well. We have a pretty dramatic seam in the back here. I'm kind of between a medium and a medium to high on the booty scale. I feel like this is a little bit more flattering than the ribbed leggings, so it definitely can compress the glutes a little bit. So around a medium on the booty scale. You do get good cellulite coverage in this fabric because it's almost kind of like a print, and it has some compression. And then down at the bottom of the leg, we also have that Moto detail on the outer calf, and that's on both sides. And these are a 26-inch inseam, so they're hitting me right about ankle length. So these are definitely kind of a wild card piece. I do think they're cute, but realistically, I know myself, I just am not going to be wearing them that much. The holographic fabric does hold up to washing, holds up to gym use. It is more breathable than it looks, but it's just not really my personal thing. The contour pocket leggings are back. Not that I really needed another pair of contour pocket leggings, but my only lipstick red leggings are the aggressive scrunch flares. And again, they're the butter fabric, so I wanted something in Newbury. So we have seen these before, and we most recently saw the contour leggings in the Juicy collection. And I will do a little comparison of those, but they're basically the same leggings, except the contour pocket leggings obviously have a pocket on the side. I'm a much bigger fan of the contour pocket leggings. I feel like if you can add the pocket, you might as well do it. I just like how these fit me a little bit better too. I actually compared some measurements. They're supposed to be the same, but these are just a slightly higher rise. It just hit me at a slightly more comfortable place on my body. So these are made of the Newbury fabric. They're a high rise, so not quite as high as the Legacy legging, the Rosa legging. We have a soft V in the front, and we have these nice contouring seams that come up the front of the body and also the back. You have the side panel detail with a pocket, and the pocket has a little elastic at the top so that the top of the pocket just sits really flat against your skin. No front seam, 26-inch inseam. We have some curved seams in the back. I think the original contour pocket did not have the tonal branding, so these now do have the tonal silicone branding. Curved seams, and again, you have those little contour, almost like corset type seams in the back. These are almost like the upgraded Rosa pocket leggings, but they still have that like OG Buffbunny feel. All right, super quick contour pocket leggings. These fit so much better than the contour leggings. There was just something a little bit off about the rise with those. And specifically in the Juicy launch, they did just feel a little bit thinner. I'm getting a little bit more hold out of these. Like this does feel a little bit more like OG Newbury to me. Plus, whenever you have pockets, you get a little bit more compression anyway. So we have that high rise, goes right to the belly button, little contouring seams, side pockets with that little elastic at the top to kind of keep everything nice and in place. Flattering seams in the back, say medium to high on the booty scale. You get a little bit of cellulite coverage with the slightly thicker Newbury. I know they said it wasn't changed, but this does feel more like regular Newbury to me. Still very soft, but it does have some hold, especially compared to butter. And full length view, these are 26-inch inseam. The contour pocket leggings just have become one of my favorite pocket leggings. I think they're such a great staple. They hit me in such a flattering place. The pockets are the perfect size, and I love that we're now getting it in the lipstick red. There's also no scrunches or anything going on, so this is a very low risk for camel toe item. For my ultra high rise girlies, the Legacy leggings will be coming back just in the purple shadow color. I've reviewed these so many times. I feel like they just launch like one color every launch now, but these are like the classic Buffbunny legging, tri-seam detail in the back. They're an ultra high rise, so they do go above the belly button, a little bit above the natural waist. 26-inch inseam, super flattering, Newbury fabric. Always a reliable legging. Hopefully we see the micro Legacy come back at some point. Next, we will move on to shorts, to which we only have one pair of shorts, but that's okay. As we enter fall, we definitely get a little bit less short selection. So these are the Poshknit Scrunch shorts in a 7-inch inseam. Again, I feel like you may be tempted to compare these to the aggressive scrunch shorts, but they really do fit pretty different. We already discussed the Poshknit fabric. These fit the same as the Poshknit leggings. They're just in shorts form. I did lay the waistbands on top of each other and mine matched up perfectly. Sometimes shorts have a slightly lower rise than leggings, but these have the same 9-inch rise in the size small. Double thickness waistband with no top band. We have that slightly wider seam here compared to the aggressive scrunch. Slightly extended gusset. And we have a 7-inch inseam, and the thigh opening is definitely slightly flared, so definitely thick thigh friendly. And they're a 7-inch inseam because on the PDF it says that it'll kind of fit like a 6-inch because of the scrunch. The aggressive scrunch made sense because you actually needed to like gather some of the fabric around the cheeks, but because the back rise is longer on these, they don't really go up the cheeks in the same way. So I think they honestly do fit like a 7-inch. I don't really think they fit like a 6-inch. So these will fit a little bit longer than the aggressive scrunch shorts. We still have those contouring seams in the back. We have the elastic up the back rise. All right, here are the Poshknit shorts. So they have the same rise as the leggings. They're hitting right about the smallest point of my waist. Really, the details are almost exactly the same on the leggings as the shorts. So these are a 7-inch inseam. I do feel like they hit me slightly longer than a 6-inch inseam, even though they said they fit like a 6-inch. Leg opening is wide, so I'm not getting any squishing down of the thighs here. Plenty of room for thick thighs. Now that I've been running a little bit and kind of evaluating shorts for if they are more runner friendly, I feel like these would slide up because they don't really have a lot of compression along the thigh area there. So I feel like these could ride up during running because of that. There's a balance between a little compression at the bottom and squeezing in. You want to get like right in the middle there. We have no side seams, and then we have medium to high on the booty scale, but a medium compression, and these just have like a nice thick dense feeling. They're not squishing me anywhere, they're just kind of like sitting over top of my body, kind of smoothing everything out. We do have that little hidden scrunch, but again, it's not like super up the glutes, just a little bit, and not causing me any tension in the front. So I love how these feel just kind of as a new basic short with like a little flattering element. Next, we're moving on to sports bras. We'll start out with the ribbed notch sports bra. This is going to be in that Material Girl fabric to go with the ribbed cross-waist leggings. These have a slightly rounded square neckline, and there is a little V notch in the front, and it is wire reinforced, so it stays very structured. There is a little elastic on the inside. Removable cups. The cups do enter at the top of the sports bra, which is not my favorite, but it's actually a slightly wider opening than usual, so it's pretty easy to get in there and get your cup pads. The straps crisscross in the back, and then they transition into kind of that more like shinier bra strap material so that they can adjust along the back half, and then we have an embroidered Buffbunny logo. Okay, I just finished working out in this, so I figured it would be a good time to do a review. So far, very impressed with the bras in this collection. This bra stayed put for my whole workout, didn't need to adjust it at all, never felt like I was going to fall out of it. It has that nice, sleek, ribbed material. There is an elastic in there, but it's underneath the outer layer of fabric, so it has a very seamless look, but it still gives you that kind of under bust support. It has this really nice kind of rounded square neckline, and then it has a little V. I was a little nervous about the V, but it does have that wire support in it, so it stays put really well and just has really good structure to it, and it gives me like a little pop of cleavage, but nothing that I would fall out of. I'm actually very covered. Overall, I would give this a medium coverage. It does go into the armpits a little as well. I had no discomfort anywhere on this one. The straps were a little bit tight when I put them on, so I just loosened them up, and then it was perfect. Overall, I would say this one is true to size, but if you're in between, I'd probably size up. Support is still like low to medium. It's not crazy good for a gym workout, but really nothing beyond that. Very smooth at the sides, and then we have the back. I love that the bra is nice and cut away from the lats, so it doesn't pinch me there. And then the straps kind of transition into that kind of classic bra strap material in the back, but over the shoulders, it's still mostly that thicker ribbed material. And then we have that embroidered detail in the back. So I think this one would be great on a small and large busts. And just kind of a fun switch up. I feel like a lot of their ribbed sports bras are just like very much on the cleavagey side, but this one's a little more like tasteful cleavage that for me I can still wear to the gym, feel cute, and still be functional. Next, we have the Spicy V2 sports bra. So if you guys remember, like super OG Buffbunny, like right when I started working with them, they had the Spicy sports bra, and I don't know what happened to mine. Like I might have gotten rid of it because I actually couldn't wear it because the cleavage was just like crazy. They thankfully updated this. So this is the V2, and it's definitely been modified. We have that holographic recycled polyester spandex. It has this little V neckline with little cage detail to keep the girls in. There's a thin elastic along the bottom. Some good bust space here with removable cups. I like that this collection feels like more like OG with the Buffbunny sports bras. Like even though this is like a spicy sports bra, you can see just how much coverage each girl has, and it just feels like more than we've been getting recently. I especially feel like this was like a butter sports bra issue where they made all the butter sports bras super tiny because they were like, oh, butter stretches, but it never stretched that much. So I'm liking that this just feels like a classic Buffbunny launch, and I know you guys have been missing that too. Then we have some elasticated straps, and they do adjust in the back. And the back has a pretty narrow band. The inside of the sports bra is lined with black here. And then we have the silicone logo on the back left. All right, we have the Spicy V2 sports bra. And I think a big reason why this one is so much better than the original one as well is because the bottom band is continuous now. So they have that secure bottom elastic instead of just having like one of these little cage details holding the bottom together. So surprisingly, I'm actually really okay wearing this one, and this is definitely one of the more like cleavagey bras. So I would say if you're BTC, you could go for this one. It's definitely a cleavagey moment, but you're in there. So true to size, but this is that more compressive material. So if you're in between, I would size up. We have that secure bottom band, and then we have the two kind of triangular shaped bust areas that actually provide pretty good coverage. It goes pretty good into the armpit area, and you definitely have a cleavage moment that is kind of caged up here, but my nips are like way out here, so I'm fully covered and not at risk of any movement. The support is actually kind of better than I expected. It's more like light to medium, maybe leaning towards medium depending on your bust size. We have these spaghetti straps that actually are adjustable on the back. They crisscross. I've been loving just like the shape of the back of the bras lately. It just kind of cuts away from the lats, so you're not getting any cutting in there, and then just kind of tapers in the middle here. So yeah, I honestly feel very secure in this bra, especially compared to some of the twist bras. I would say honestly this is like a medium coverage bra. We have the cleavage moment, but I'm covered otherwise. So say if you are BTC and you just want to have a little spicy moment, you know what? Do your thing, go for it, because you're gonna be secure at least. Next, we have the Poshknit Twist Halter Sports Bra. And you guys know I'm a little bit over the twisted halter sports bras at this point. Like, I can only handle so many halter bras and I can only handle so many twist bras. And while I wouldn't pick this one as my Poshknit sports bra if I had the choice, it is definitely a significant improvement from the butter twisted bras. So first of all, it's made of the Poshknit fabric, so it has some good structure to it. We do have a halter strap, a twist front detail, and then it's very open in the back. We do have removable cuffs as well. I actually got this in a medium because for almost all of the twisted bras, I end up sizing up to a medium and just preferring that, so I definitely suggest sizing up. People who didn't size up felt a lot more tension around the neck. I'll compare this to my twisted halter sports bra in a size medium as well, and this just fits so much better. It has about an inch more diameter in coverage, and that was enough to actually make me feel secure at the gym. I also feel like my girls just looked a little bit more held and supported because the butter fabric just is a little bit more flimsy and this just has a lot more hold. All right, here we are with the Poshknit halter bra, and I actually did wear this one to the gym and was honestly totally fine. This feels like it fits most similarly to the twisted curve bra, so I'll do a side-by-side of that as well. It obviously doesn't have the same back coverage or the same molded cup padding, but I feel like in terms of like how much actual coverage there is, this is most comparable to that. So I got the medium, and this does not feel too big for me in any way, so I really do suggest sizing up. I like where the twist starts. It's not too wide, so I know I'm not gonna like fall out to the middle here. The fabric has nice density and support, so I really just feel like it's kind of just holding the girls in. We have the halter strap that wraps around the neck. Overall coverage, I would say low to medium. I'm reserving the low for like old twisted butter bras that are like truly low coverage. This one's a little bit better than that. And the support though, it is overall a low support. You're really not getting a lot of support out of a halter. And then in the back, you have that little logo right at the bottom left, and then the fabric meets in the middle there. Very open for back day if you're into that. My one complaint with this bra, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but there's this little area where the seams come together here as part of the twist. It's on the left side and it just kind of pokes out. There's really nothing you can do about it there. It doesn't really want to tuck in. So occasionally you'll just see like a little pokey area. It doesn't poke into me, but it just does seem like a little bit unfinished to have a little pokey spot there. So I generally prefer non-halter bras, but I like the pattern, I like the fabric, and this one had enough coverage to work for me. Next we have the Empire Sports Bra. This is going to be another BTC option. This is a Newbury fabric sports bra. I love a classic Newbury bra. This is like another reason why it feels like a more OG launch. Like we're just getting some Newbury bras, just like some better coverage bras. This one, I'm waiting for it to grow on me. It has not quite grown on me yet. It has a slight V neckline and it has this overlay of this pleated fabric over top, but it feels like they were like inspired by like a mummy or just like an ace bandage. And again, it might grow on me. This one is definitely more for the BTC girls. The IBTC, they just have not really been liking this bra, which I understand. Honestly, I don't really love this bra. And it's tacked down on the side, so you can actually kind of change the way that it's gathered in the front a little bit. So we'll experiment a little bit with that when I try it on. So the straps are elasticated. They're nice and thick and adjustable. There's a tiny little elastic all along the bottom and then tonal branding in the back. Here's the mummy bra. It's very true to size. I love how the small feels. I like that the straps are thin, but they're not so thin that they're gonna cut in, and they still have pretty decent support. Overall coverage, medium to full coverage. There's just a tiny peak of cleavage, not really any cutting away from the side boob. I'd say we have pretty good coverage there. And there is that tiny elastic along the bottom to kind of keep everything secure there. And support is about a medium support. Definitely BTC friendly. And then at the back, it has a very similar shape to the spicy bra and the ribbed notch bra as well. Maybe a little bit thicker in the back there. And then we have that tonal logo with the adjustable strap. Then we get into this front section. So if you kind of pull the fabric away, it is kind of a V-neck bra here. Honestly, would have just liked the V-neck bra, like a simple V-neck bra with enough coverage for the girls. would have been great. But you get kind of this fabric over top. So you can lay it out like this so that it goes straight across and it kind of covers that little V-neck. Or you can kind of try to gather it a little bit more. So if you gather it a little bit down, you can kind of see that neckline a little bit. This is cuter, I think. I don't know, am I trying to convince myself too much? But yeah, you can kind of change the gathering. You could even almost like stretch it out fully if you'd like, a little bit different on one side than the other. I don't know, I feel like the kind of more gathered is the way that I prefer it here. Now instead of 3 larger pleats, I kind of have like 4 smaller pleats. So let me know what you guys think of this one. Do you like it? Is it cute? Is it giving a spandage? The next 3 sports bras we will go over quickly because they're all returning. We have the Bloom sports bra back. This is one of my favorites when I just know I want a full coverage bra that's supportive, soft, and got a couple cute elements to it. I don't think we've tried this one on in a while, so I will just pop it on super quick, but it's made of the Newbury fabric. It's a classic long line Buffbunny sports bra. So there's a little seam here, and then it does extend down onto the torso a little bit. We have tons of bust space, this little ruching detail in the front. We have these thick tank straps and they split into little skinny straps in the back for the racer back. The only difference I noticed between this bra and some previous Bloom bras is that the straps are just a little bit more reinforced now and just sit a little bit flatter than before. All right, Bloom sports bra, true to size. If you're in between, maybe size down, but you can kind of go either way, depends on how much compression you want. The little seam that contours right below the bust, little ruche detail in the front, but you get full coverage out of this one. There's no cleavage, no side boob. You have these nice thick tank straps, and this is a long line, so you just get a little bit more coverage here. And then we just have the racer back. The straps are laying just a little bit flatter now. They're a little bit less round than before. This is always a good choice for my BTC girlies. The support is more of a medium support, not as supportive as like the candy wrap, but just a good, comfortable, full coverage bra. And then 2 more returning bras. First, we have Revolution. The Revolution bra is only coming in purple shadow. We all know the Revolution bra at this point, so I'm just gonna put a couple details up on the screen. I like the Revolution bra, but for me, I always end up kind of falling out of the top of it, so it's not my favorite OG Buffbunny bra. And Candy Wrap is back, and she's making an appearance in the Hush Berry color. This is another Newbury bra. This is a great BTC bra that actually has really great support, adjustable straps, a little crossover detail in the front. I actually wore my Candy Wrap running a little bit ago, and honestly did a good job. For the most part, running approved. I know a lot of you guys actually do run in your Candy Wrap bras. Candy Wrap, mostly true to size up if you're in between. Sometimes I wear a medium just because it's a little bit less compressive, but I can wear the small as well, so I'll just put the details on the screen. Then we have the Butter square neck top. This is the only item that's coming in Butter in this launch. This one's kind of more of a lifestyle piece. We have these tank straps, rounded square neckline, and the whole piece is lined. So it is 2 layers of the Butter fabric, but there's no built-in bra or anything. So if we turn it inside out, you'll see there are no cup pads, there's no room for cup pads, there's no elastic, so you're not getting any support out of this one other than strictly from the compression of the top. I'm gonna try this one on with a regular bra and then with nothing, but I would definitely see this more as a lifestyle piece. We also have full coverage in the back, and it looks like a little bit longer than some crops, so we'll see how that is. And then we also have the silicone Buffbunny logo. Okay guys, here's the top. Honestly, better than I expected in this whole outfit together. Very excited about it. This launch has just been like hit after hit. Anyways, this is the Butter square neck top. So we have this kind of wide square neckline, but still really good coverage. So I'd say in terms of bust coverage, medium to full. It's double thickness and honestly giving me more support than I had expected. This almost doesn't even feel like Butter. It feels like a little less soft than Butter and a little bit more compressive. So I'm gonna investigate the tag and just make sure. But it's probably Butter. I don't know, it just feels different to me. I love the length of this. My belly button's here. It definitely goes more down the torso than most. I'll do a side by side of this and my tall Karma crop, just so you can see kind of where those hit me. But I do feel like it's definitely hitting like more of a meet and greet length. So I show just a tiny bit of skin with these high-waisted pants, but most people, you're gonna get a little bit of overlap. Like this is what I wanna see in terms of top lengths. I also feel like this neckline is just super flattering in the front. True to size. If you're in between, you could really go either way if you want a little bit more compression, a little bit less. Everything is super seamless on this top, so I'm not getting any cutting in anywhere. Then you have full coverage in the back. I'm actually like considering getting a couple more colors of this. It's just like a really nice basic top. I'm just gonna pop on a normal bra under this to see if it can be hidden. Okay, I went ahead and put a normal bra on under this. And honestly, depending on the shape of the bra you go for, it should be completely undetectable under it. Obviously, you're gonna see like a little a little bulging in the back, but not a big deal. This bra is more full coverage, so it's trying to poke out a little bit, but if you do more of like a demi coverage bra, I think you could totally wear a bra under this. So that's a win for me. You can wear a bra if you want, you can not wear a bra if you don't want. It's a great option for a lifestyle piece, and I also just love the double thickness of this. It's smoothing and everything. If I didn't want to wear a bra with this, I would probably put some cakes in, just like those little nipple covers, just to make sure, you know, if we get any cold breeze, we don't show anything. But yeah, I'm liking this one. All right, next we're moving on to bodysuits and dresses. So first we have the Poshknit wrap bodysuit. Obviously, according to the name, this is the Poshknit fabric. And this one is in the black and white colorway. Makes for like a good little Cruella de Vil costume, you know, that's like subtle, still cute. So there are a couple pieces in this launch that do have the black and white option. I just wanted to try it in the bodysuit. So you have this wrap front detail, and it does have a cutout here. And then it's almost just like a little pair of shorts attached. The shorts are also 6 inches, which I love. The shorts have a gusset that's extended down the length of the inseam, and then the back is full coverage. There's a little seam to kind of attach the body to the short area. Then we have the logo. We do have contouring glute seams, and it's not a scrunch or shortened back rise. It just has the elastic up the back rise. So a little bit of enhancement to the glutes, but it's not something that you like need to pull up the glutes like the corset bodysuit. And this bodysuit does have space for cup pads, but they didn't include the cup pads. So I'm gonna have to go find some cup pads to put in here because I'm a girl who likes cup pads. I'm glad that they at least put in the space, but I just feel like it's a weird way to like, I don't know if it's like cutting costs. Like I actually genuinely don't know why you would have the room for the cup pads and not just include them, because people who don't want them can take them out. But now I have to go find some to put in, and I just feel like that should come with a piece. Like it feels like it's missing. So anyways, let's try this on. All right, guys. Here is the bodysuit. First of all, I just love the black and white. I feel like that's definitely worth like picking up a piece that has this little black and white moment. So I'm wearing a size small. I would say true to size, but I'm definitely leaning towards sizing up if in between. There are a couple things on this bodysuit that just feel a little bit snug. Let's talk about the top first. So I did put in some cup pads. We have this crossover area. I would say the coverage is medium. It definitely has a plunging V, but the rest of the bust all along the side is covered. Support, not that this is like really something I would work out in personally. Support is about light to medium. There actually is some compression there. We have long sleeves, and they're actually quite long. They do go a little bit over my wrists. There aren't any thumb holes, unfortunately. I would have liked to see that. Then you have this cutout in the front. It's almost like shorts that are attached in the back, but the top is separate. So this actually helps it be a little bit more long torso friendly because the cutout can just kind of open up a little bit more. Looking at the rest, we have a little V front here, and then we have a 6-inch inseam on the shorts. Really glad they did a longer inseam here, but you can kind of see my thighs are getting a little bit squished. So they're much more compressive along the thigh opening than the Poshknit Scrunch shorts. So I'd say these aren't the most thick thigh friendly. I would expect some compression here. This might differ with the colors. I know black can tend to be a little bit more compressive, but just like the seam itself, it feels a little bit more snug down there. Is it long torso friendly? I would say like mostly it definitely feels a little bit snug against the torso, especially in the bust area. I feel more like squished down rather than lifted up. Like this is not like lifting me up at all. So for my larger bust girlies, you're not getting a lot of like lift, but the girls are still kind of locked in. So large bust friendly in terms of like, can it accommodate a large bust? Yes. Is it supportive? I'd say probably not. And then the back is full coverage. So there's a couple seams going on here. There's a seam that kind of attaches the top to the bottom. I think the top might be 2 layers. The top is actually lined and the bottom is just 1 single layer of fabric. And then we do have some seams that go right above the glutes, as well as a little elastic up the back rise. So I like this one. I think it's fun. It's probably not going to be like a super worn piece for me just because I just don't really see when I would wear this. I don't love wearing bodysuits to the gym, and it does feel a little bit tight against my long torso. Then we have the Poshknit Hourglass dress. So as the name suggests, this is in the Poshknit fabric, but I'm so glad to have like a little fall themed dress because I've been wearing my bend and snap dress like at least a couple times a month ever since it launched. And I feel like this is like the fall version of the bend and snap dress. It's coming in Venom and black, and it comes in a micro length and a regular length. And if you look at this regular length, it's pretty long. It's hard to compare the length of this to the length of the bend and snap dress that also came in 2 lengths, because the bend and snap dress has an adjustable strap, so it's a little bit more flexible in terms of like the whole body length. With this one, I think I measured 28 inches from the bust to the end, and then it's 32.5 from the shoulder to the bottom, which from the looks of it actually looks like a little bit longer than the bend and snap dress. So you have a square neckline. We have long sleeves that have like a fun little bell sleeve moment with a little bit of a slit. The back is a little bit scooped down and it has a little strap to connect to the sleeves so those don't fall down. And it's not like a fit and flare with a defined waist like the bend and snap. It's more of a gradual A-line, but it still has that like flowy, circle-y type fit at the bottom, which I love. I don't like my dresses to be too tight below my waist. Like I want them to flare away. It has this little seam detail that kind of like contours your curves in the front. And just like the Poshknit bodysuit, this one also has room for cut pads, but they didn't put cut pads in it. So gotta find my cut pads to put in it. I was very pleased to see there is a little elastic that goes right under the bust. So wouldn't consider this like a full built-in bra, but it has some under bust elastic and it has the cut pads, so you still should get some support. This is definitely reading more lifestyle piece to me, so I'm not like as concerned about support level. So because this is technically an athletic dress, we have a full bodysuit on the inside. The bodysuit has a 6-inch inseam. I don't think I've seen an inseam that long on like any active dress. I think mine was only 4 inches. I do think that this would be shorter on the micro version, so if I can find that information, I will put it on the screen at the end. We have pockets on both sides of the shorts, and the inner bodysuit is only connected on the front half. The back half, you can easily pull down the shorts to go to the bathroom. So I will kind of demonstrate how that's done because I know that can be a little confusing, but if you've ever seen like the Lululemon Align dress has that feature, and same with all the Halter like easy peasy dresses. So you don't have to take the whole dress off to go to the bathroom. When I was working on my bend and snap dress, I didn't even know about that feature because it was like so early on. So I'm glad that like only a couple months later, they're already doing it. Okay, I knew I was gonna love this dress, you guys. It is so nice. First of all, this fabric just is perfect for a fall dress like this. It's actually pretty long. Like, do we see the coverage I'm getting out of this? It has 6-inch shorts on the inside and the skirt still goes down a couple inches below that. So for my tall girlies or anyone that's just looking for a little bit of extra coverage, the regular length has got the length. So first of all, we have this square neckline. We do have an elastic that goes under the bust. I put in some cut pads just because that's what I prefer. I wouldn't say it's supportive, but it's enough for me to not need to wear a bra. We have this kind of fit and flare shape. It flares around the smallest point of my waist, which is perfect. And the skirt has a good range of motion here. Has some good movement when I turn. Then the sleeves sit maybe a little bit wider, but you have that little strap in the back to connect them to make sure they don't fall off your shoulders. They're snug in the arms, but then it flares out at the bottom and has that little slit. The sleeves are nice and long. They're going like over my fingers a little bit. So first, let's take a look at the bodysuit on the inside. The top portion is mesh where that sports bra is, and then around the belly button, it transitions into the Poshknit. We have no front seam on the inner bodysuit, 6-inch inseam on this longer one, and then we have 2 full side pockets, and they're actually really large down here. I'm getting enough compression on the thighs here that I think it's gonna stay put, but not so much that it's cutting into my thighs. And then the back, the bodysuit on the top actually only goes in the front half. In some of the other dresses that I have, they still have a little flap that goes in the back, and then it ends up just getting caught under the dress. So I like that they just included the shorts and not that little top flap situation. And this is what makes it easy to go to the bathroom. There's definitely a little bit of a learning curve with that, but it's a lot easier than taking off your entire dress. It wouldn't be right to not have a peach appearance. So what do you have to say? And then we can see if this is pet fur friendly. Obviously with a more brushed fabric, it's gonna hold on to pet fur a little bit. I wouldn't say it's any worse than Newbury or anything. Definitely expect Poshknit to hold on to a little pet fur. Next we have a fun piece. This is the Cruellafree faux fur coat. We have obviously a faux fur. It has this little chevron design. Like the fur is in like these little layers that kind of comes into the center. It's not cropped, but it's not like super long. This is actually my favorite jacket length. Kind of hits around hip length, so it doesn't overwhelm your whole body. We have these large poofy sleeves. We do have pockets in the front here, and we have a big hood. So let's try this one on because it's just getting kind of heavy to hold. I wish I could pull off a red lip. Maybe I will for like some photos or something. We'll see. So I got a size small, kind of my normal jacket size. Very occasionally I do a medium just if I want a little bit more space, but lately I've just been doing small. And we'll do it unzipped first. So first of all, I personally think that this is very true to size. I wouldn't want this any smaller. I think it would just be a little bit too tight to layer anything underneath it, but I did see some people say they wish they sized down. My recommendation is going to be true to size unless you're in between. The sleeves are a perfect length. They're kind of going over my wrists a little bit, but otherwise perfect. You can see they have a little bit of a bat wing moment just for like a kind of slouchy effect. They have these wide lapels, a nice big hood in the back. You can, oh my gosh, it's actually This is so cozy. Now I need to go somewhere cold for the winter. So that's it unzipped. You can kind of see that little chevron effect. It just makes it have a little bit more excitement than just a full faux fur. So a little detail alongside the zipper here. You can see it has a little faux leather just lining right next to the zipper, and the hardware is black here. Here it is zipped up most of the way. I just have a little bit of room at the bottom here, but the back does have a little elastic, so it kind of goes right above your hips, and you still have some shape on the bottom of you. I would consider this hip length. My hip bones are right here, so I wouldn't really consider this cropped. This is, again, my favorite length of jacket because once it goes over my hips, I lose all shape. This still kind of elongates your legs, still kind of defines the waist a little bit, but I'm not really showing any skin. And then we have two spacious front pockets, so you can keep your hands nice and warm. They do not have zippers, kind of wish they did, or at least like a snap or something, but they don't have anything to really make them secure. And the faux fur is actually very soft, it's not itchy at all, and it is lined with a kind of like sleek nylon lining. The inside of the jacket is mostly lined with the faux fur, but the very back has like a kind of a sleek nylon lining. Okay, we are almost there. Buffbunny said, let's redeem ourselves with some new cargos. Recently they launched the Adventure capsule, and I reviewed the Adventure cargos in the last launch, and I was just like not a fan of them. They were just kind of weird. I just didn't like them. And these cargos are significantly better. So think of the material of the overalls. It kind of feels like a medium weight denim, but it actually has good stretch to it. These should be about a high rise. We have a button, full zip. They have these little adjusters on the waist so you can get a really good fit. The back has these little flap pockets. They don't have any snaps though. I would have liked to see some snaps to make sure that those stay down. They don't like flap out. We have some real cargo pockets. Again, there are no snaps though, so I would have liked to see that, but they're actually like good space cargo pockets. Straight to wide leg pant, and the bottom has a little area where you can cinch them if you want to, but generally I don't like to. These unfortunately though are only coming in one inseam. They are a 32-inch inseam, so we'll see how it fits me. I would have liked to see multiple lengths on these pants, especially because the last overalls we did have multiple lengths, so just would have liked to see that, but let's try these on. Okay guys, we have the cargos, and I'm honestly very happy about them. So I got my normal size small, and they're a high rise. They're going a little bit over my belly button. They have so much stretch to them. Like, this fabric is so great because it looks like a jean, kind of feels like denim, but it's softer and it has a ton of stretch to it. So I do have some gaping in the waist here, which is common for me. I wouldn't say this is a ton, but they have these little like self-tighten things on the side, so you can take care of that waistband gaping. And now I have no gaping in the waist. So that's perfect, and I didn't even have to put on a belt because sometimes belts just don't go with the vibes of the outfit. So these are true to size. If you're in between, you could really go either way. I'd say size up if you want a little bit of a baggier fit, but you probably could size down as well. We do have belt loops in the front here. I also feel like it fits me well in the crotch too. Like, there's just a slight relaxed feel here, but nothing too crazy. These two front pockets do have that little snap that I was talking about, so I like that they have that. They're also pretty spacious in there. For the cargo pockets on the side of the leg, this whole area is actually sewn down, so you can still access the pocket, but everything lays really flat. So it's actually not a problem that these don't snap. And at the back, we have the two flap pockets as well, but they're not sticking out. And then we go to the length, and honestly, these are like a perfect length for me. With the shoe, they're just gonna kind of sit nicely over top. They have that area where you can tighten at the bottom. So for my shorties, this may not be the most ideal length for you, but for me, I generally wear 33 to 34 inch for like a flare legging. So for this type of pant to be 32, it's honestly not too bad. You can see the leg fit kind of skims my thighs and then it goes straight down. So definitely more of like a kind of like wide to straight leg fit, but it's not a flare. And since I always do this in my curvy jeans review, I would definitely say these are curvy friendly. I had a tiny bit of room at the waist, but not enough that it looks weird when I tighten these little side things. And they fully accommodate my glutes without squishing them down, and they honestly look super flattering. So these might be the best lifestyle pants that Buffbunny's done yet. I honestly really like these, and I'm tempted to get another color. I have a pair of Abercrombie cargos, and they're not as nice as these. Like, this fabric is so much better. I love the stretch. Okay, I just wanted to show the cargos now that I have tied the little side ties. So they're basically just like a little rope drawstring. I just kind of tied them in a little bow. So this is how they are, kind of like more jogger-like instead of straight leg. A couple more things I wanted to mention. First, I wanted to like fit a phone in there just to show you how spacious it is. And I just wanted to note that the pockets, they are real pockets, but they have a stitch to tack them down just to keep it nice and flat in transit, similar to like a pair of dress pants or something like that. So you can just snip that little string when you get them, and then you can use the pockets. And we've made it to accessories. So first we have Poshknit scrunchies. For all my little scrunchie lovers, it has an embroidered Buffbunny logo. The 3-pack Scrunch socks are back, coming in white, dark charcoal, and purple. I think the scrunch socks are cute, but they're honestly just like a little bit thick for me to wear at the gym. So usually I just stick to like a normal crew sock. But I could see the scrunch socks with like some little Uggs, some little slippers. I think that could be cute. There's the quilted SOS case accessory. This one I think is just for like a little lipstick or something. I don't really know why you need like a separate bag for your lipstick. It's a cute little idea. It zips and then clips on to your bag. And finally, we have the Glam Gym Organizer. When I requested this, I did not know it was going to be this big. This is like a travel makeup bag. So a new addition to the Game Changer collection, even though this is not technically called Game Changer, it has this quilted faux leather material on both sides. On this side, we have like a little acrylic Buffbunny logo. I'll put the measurements on the screen, but this is one side that zips open. So you have this pretty spacious pocket here, and you can definitely fit some more stuff in there, but you also have this little divided mesh section. The hardware is also dyed to match. And then you can zip open the other side, and it's slightly different. Clearly I haven't opened this side yet. So this is the side with the logo. First of all, you have all these little makeup brush organizers down here to stick all your brushes. Maybe I need to give this bag a chance. I'm just like pretty attached to my current makeup bag. And then you have another mesh section that has a full zip to keep everything nice and secure. This is all one section, it's not divided up. And then the center section has this like a double zipper that you can flap open. It also has a little magnetic closure on the side there. And then you have quite a bit of space just to throw all of your products here. On one side, you again have these little divided little mesh areas. And then the other, you have like a plastic vinyl lined area that fully zips. So you can put more of your items in there. And then when you're done, you just zip it right up. It's quite big. If you need a little travel makeup case, this is super cute. But everyone's a little bit different on what they look for in a travel makeup case. Okay guys, that is it for the review. Okay, my top picks of the launch, definitely Poshknit leggings, shorts, and the Poshknit dress. I know I'm gonna get a ton of use out of this dress because I love comfortable clothes that kind of feel like activewear but look like normal clothing. And this is such a great transition to fall dress. Contour pocket leggings, they launched them last year. Ever since, I've just been a big fan of them. I feel like they've been a consistent piece recently that just always hits. Obviously Candy Wrap and Bloom. I also like the ribbed notch bra. The cargos and the butter top were surprising as well. Honestly, I liked most things. You really can't go wrong with most of this collection. I know that's not super helpful, but yeah, if you're a fall girly and you like jewel tones, you're in luck. Okay guys, that is it for the review. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions down below. The Deadlift collection is launching on Saturday, October 12th, again at 1 p.m. Central Time, and you can use my code Catherine for 10% off. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!